Be prepared. The lies hidden in your bloodline won't stay buried much longer. And now, the first signs are appearing. You think you're living your own life, but what if you're just echoing the people who came before you? What if the choices you're making, the fears you carry, the way you speak, the things you avoid, aren't actually yours? Because here's the truth. Not everything passed down through generations was sacred. Some of it was a spiritual trap wrapped in the word tradition. And this upcoming strawberry full moon, it's not just here to pass quietly. It's here to awaken, to stir your roots and help you see which beliefs have quietly shaped your path. You know those phrases your family always said? Some carried wisdom, but some may have unintentionally kept you playing small. Not all guidance was harmful, but not all of it was meant for who you're becoming. And now, something's shifting. The spiritual family tree is shaking, and some fruits don't fall unless you cut the branch. This moon, it's putting the saw in your hand. And if lately you've ever caught yourself questioning a belief you grew up with, feel free to leave your thoughts below. And if it resonates, write 555 along with your comment in order to align with this moment of ancestral breakthrough. And pay attention, because very soon, a certain family member is going to say something that unexpectedly confirms everything. I'll explain why that happens and how you'll know, so keep watching. But here's the part most people don't realize. The sweetness you've been handed might actually be hiding something far more complicated, and it's about to surface. The strawberry full moon doesn't feed you, it tests your tongue. We've been told this moon is about sweetness, harvest, blessings, but sweetness can deceive. Because whatever ripens also exposes what's been festering beneath. This isn't just about receiving, it's about spitting out what you were never meant to digest. June 11th forces you to taste test your legacy. What part of your inheritance is nourishing, and what part is poison wrapped in nostalgia? It's easy to cling to rituals just because they're familiar, but ask yourself, did those customs ever really love you back? Or did they only love your silence? This moon wants truth, not sugar. It wants to know, which seeds did you choose, and which ones were planted in you without permission? Because this isn't just a harvest moon. It's a reckoning moon. It's not asking you to celebrate, it's daring you to separate. It's not rebellion, it's recognition. There's something strange happening right now. You're not angry, you're not triggered. But suddenly, certain routines, conversations, and family rituals feel off, like they don't belong to you anymore. Maybe it's the tone someone always uses that used to slide right past you, but now feels hollow, even manipulative. Or maybe it's just the way your body reacts around certain dynamics, like your energy flinches before your face even moves. This isn't some dramatic falling out. This isn't rebellion. It's resonance mismatch. What you once accepted is now vibrating at a completely different frequency, and your soul is starting to notice. You're not rejecting your family. You're rejecting the version of you that kept pretending everything was fine. That version was necessary. It survived, but it can't come with you now. Tradition becomes a trap the moment you stop questioning it. What's happening during this strawberry full moon isn't just some quirky emotional shift. This is the preparation for a new energetic archetype. The rituals, phrases, and rules that were once your spiritual cage are now getting too small to contain you. It's not burnout. You're not overwhelmed. You're just waking up inside a pattern you were never meant to continue. And what's even more surreal is that while you're quietly untangling yourself, someone in your family has started acting strange. Your awakening might be shaking something loose in them. Over the past few days, you might have noticed it. That one family member, you know the one, has been behaving differently, not explosively, subtly. Maybe they've gone unusually quiet. Maybe they've been making odd decisions, spacing out mid-conversation, saying things that sound just a little too loaded. Or maybe they're over-explaining their actions, trying to re-justify dynamics that no one asked about. This isn't just them having a bad week. You're not reading into things, you're witnessing spiritual static. Your shift, your quiet internal revolt, is sending signals through the energetic threads that tie you to your lineage. And even if they don't know why, something in them feels it. The more you change your frequency, the more their masks start to slip. What you're seeing is the friction of stagnant energy being stirred. Some family members have been parked in denial for decades. Your growth is uncomfortable for them, not because you're doing anything wrong, but because you're doing what they couldn't. It's not your job to fix them, but it is your job to notice. Because how they react now will tell you everything about the unspoken rules you were expected to follow. And soon, one of them might say something so specific, so oddly timed, that it confirms everything you've been sensing in your gut. But before we get there, there's another layer to this moon you need to understand. The name that doesn't get brought up much. The relative people refer to with a shift in tone. Not anger, not affection, just that weird mix of discomfort and distance. It might be an aunt, a grandfather, a cousin. Someone who walked differently, thought differently. Someone who, for whatever reason, didn't fit. And while the rest of the family moved on, edited their story out of the holiday conversations, you somehow kept orbiting them without even realizing it. This full moon doesn't just break chains. It activates echoes. And if you've been feeling an inexplicable pull toward one particular family member's memory, story, or energy, that's not nostalgia. That's a recognition. You might be mirroring someone who never got the chance to finish what they started. Someone who saw through the illusion too early. Someone who tried to rewrite the story but was pushed to the margins for it. Some ancestors don't pass down their wounds. They pass down their unfinished sentences. And now, you are the sentence. You are the unwritten page. You're feeling their struggle not because you're broken, but because the thread between you never actually snapped. It just went quiet. Maybe they changed their name, moved far away, left without explanation, or stayed and got smaller every year. But now, their path might be overlapping with yours in a way you didn't expect. This is the spiritual inheritance no one talks about. Not property, not recipes, but patterns, vibrations, attempts, escapes. The misunderstood ones didn't disappear. They just waited for someone like you. And now that you're waking up, they're getting louder. This full moon is amplifying soul resonance like a broadcast tower. And the signal is clear. They made it as far as they could. Now it's your turn. The truth doesn't always arrive like a prophecy. Sometimes it slips out mid-laugh. Remember what I said earlier about a family member saying something that confirms everything? Well, this is how it happens. It's not going to be a dramatic confrontation, not a midnight confession or a teary family revelation. It'll be something offhand, casual, like a comment dropped during dinner, a random sentence from a relative you weren't even paying attention to. But it hits. Maybe they bring up something you've dreamed about. Maybe they reference a story from decades ago that matches the feelings you've been secretly unraveling. Maybe it's a phrase you've never heard before. But when they say it, it lands in your chest like lightning. This moon doesn't whisper. It orchestrates. Spiritual confirmations don't always feel profound in the moment. They feel accidental, like you overheard a piece of your destiny by mistake. But deep down, your soul knows. That one comment, that weird joke or moment of silence after a sentence, it was a message, not from them, but through them. The universe uses whoever's nearby when you're finally ready to hear the truth. And here's the part that makes your stomach twist a little. They probably won't even remember saying it, because it wasn't really them. It was the energy, the alignment, the moon pulling the words through their mouth like a wire. And in that moment, you'll know you weren't crazy, you weren't overthinking, everything was connected. And the story you've been silently rewriting? Yeah. It just got its missing chapter. But be warned, what happens right after that moment is just as important, because once the message is received, the spiritual weather changes. Not every tear is caused by pain. Some fall because your soul just remembered something too big to hold in silence. Here's what no one expects from this full moon. The emotional breakdown doesn't happen during the argument. It happens during the toast. It doesn't come when the room is tense and silent. It sneaks in while everyone's laughing. That's because this strawberry full moon has a strange magic to it. It doesn't just bring memories. It brings the contrast. You'll be sitting in a room full of people you love, smiling, maybe even feeling lucky, and then suddenly, a wave hits you. A laugh echoes in a way that reminds you of all the times love came with conditions. A compliment from a parent feels genuine, but also reminds you of the versions of yourself you had to abandon just to earn that kind of praise. This moon plants its revelations in joy, not sorrow, and that's what makes it hit even harder, because you're not crying over the past. You're crying because, for a second, you see it clearly. The way affection was rationed, measured, withheld, and wrapped in duty. Some family heirlooms aren't objects, they're emotional blueprints, taught, not treasured. So if you find yourself overwhelmed in a moment that's supposed to feel beautiful, don't brush it off. Don't tell yourself you're being too sensitive. That emotional sting is the echo of something unspoken, finally getting airtime. This moon is not trying to ruin your joy. It's trying to purify it, so that when you feel love, you know it's real, not rehearsed. So that when someone gives to you, it's not part of a transaction. And then you decide which ones stay and which ones die with you. You'll find yourself whispering things like, "It didn't have to be like that." Or maybe that wasn't actually love, it was loyalty in disguise. But here's the beauty. Recognizing the rot hidden in sweetness doesn't ruin the fruit. It teaches you how to grow your own. Clean, whole, yours. Just because it held you doesn't mean it helped you. Let's talk about the chain. The sacred, untouchable, don't question it, chain of family. The one passed down generation to generation, heavy with phrases like, "That's just how it is." We don't talk about that. Be grateful it could be worse. You owe them everything. This full moon rips the gold paint off that chain and shows you the truth. It was never gold. It was rust, old, crumbling, sharp at the edges, a trap disguised as tradition. You were taught to carry it like it was an honor, to wrap it around your choices, your dreams, your voice, to wear it like a necklace even when it dug into your skin. But here's the truth. You're not betraying your bloodline by putting the chain down. You're proving your evolution. There's something almost holy about realizing the rules weren't sacred, they were survival tactics for a different time. They served people who didn't have the choices you now do. But what protected them then is poisoning you now. This full moon doesn't come asking for apologies. It doesn't want your guilt. It wants your clarity. Maybe your grandmother stayed silent so your mother could speak a little louder. Maybe your father bent so far backwards he broke, just to keep the family standing. But that doesn't mean you need to keep bending. You're not here to carry the whole house. You're here to open the windows. This isn't rebellion, this is repair. So when this full moon shines down, it's not just lighting up your future, it's illuminating the rust. So you can see it, name it, break it, and finally realize you were never truly bound. The chain wasn't locked, it just looked shiny from a distance. What wasn't said didn't disappear, it just learned to echo. If you really want to understand the kind of spell this moon is breaking, don't look at the drama. Look at the silence. Because the real generational curse isn't always loud or violent. It's the moments that never happened. It's the hugs that were withheld, the truths that were edited, the feelings that had to be buried just to keep the room calm. We're taught to think strength means staying quiet. That love means not upsetting anyone. That peace is more important than truth. But what if that peace was just emotional tension dressed up as tradition? This strawberry full moon is like a pressure valve for every sentence your ancestors never got to say. You might feel emotions rise out of nowhere, and they won't be attached to a memory or a name. That's because they were never yours to begin with, but you inherited the silence anyway. The silence you kept wasn't just yours. It was generational muscle memory. It passed down in the way your mother avoided eye contact when things got too real, in the way your father changed the subject, in the way your grandparents said things like, "We don't talk about that," not realizing they were casting a spell to keep the wound alive. This moon doesn't ask you to break the silence with a scream. It's subtler than that. It just makes the silence too loud to ignore. You'll feel it in your body first, a tightening in the throat when you want to speak up, a pressure in your chest around someone who's been emotionally unavailable for years. But this time, you'll notice. You'll feel it fully. And you won't shove it back down like everyone else did. This isn't about confrontation. This is about completion. And no, it's not your job to fix the entire bloodline. But you can stop the silence with you. Even if it's as simple as saying the thing no one else could say. Even if it's just allowing yourself to cry in the moment your ancestors had to stay strong. Even if it's feeling an emotion fully and not apologizing for it. You're not the first to feel this. You're just the first to say it out loud. Silence protects shame, but your voice, it protects truth. So when your throat tightens this week, don't push it down. Feel it. And know that in that moment, you're not just healing, you're doing something someone before you never got the chance to do. That's power. You didn't change. You just stopped pretending you fit in. Let's be honest, there's a strange discomfort in the air this week. You might walk into a room with your family and suddenly feel like a visitor in your own story. The inside jokes don't land like they used to. The rhythm of the conversation feels off. You might even catch yourself looking around and wondering, was it always like this? Or did I just never notice? That's not detachment. It's awakening. This moon is shifting frequencies. And when your inner world upgrades, everything external that's still stuck in the old script starts to look out of place. It's not that you're pulling away, you're just orbiting differently now. Think of it like this. You've been tuning into a new station. And suddenly the background noise you've lived with for years, passive aggression, emotional avoidance, fake laughter, feels unbearable. You hear the static, you feel the distortion, and your body instinctively leans out. Just because you were raised in it doesn't mean you were meant to stay in it. This dissonance isn't failure, it's feedback. It means your spiritual coordinates are updating. You're no longer syncing with dynamics that require you to shrink. You no longer find comfort in the rituals that used to keep you emotionally numb. You don't feel guilty for wanting more, not more love, but cleaner love. Love without conditions, without control, without the silent agreements you never signed. So if you catch yourself drifting during a conversation, zoning out at a dinner table, or feeling an odd emptiness in a moment that should feel familiar, take note. That isn't you losing touch, it's you finding clarity. The gap you feel isn't a wound, it's a window. And what you do with it determines what you pass down and what finally stops with you. This week, the real test isn't whether you fit in. It's whether you can still honor what shaped you while not surrendering to it. You're not here to blend in. You're here to become the version of you your ancestors never had the freedom to be. And that feeling of not belonging, it's not rejection, it's redirection. Not everything sweet is meant to last, but some moments are meant to change everything. The strawberry full moon is not here to wait for you. It's not asking questions. It's not knocking politely on the door of your comfort zone. It's ripe, it's radiant, and it's disappearing soon. The kind of moment that whispers, now or never, while smiling like it's giving you a gift. And it is, but only if you're bold enough to taste it. Strawberries are sweet, yes, but only for a moment. They bloom fast, they ripen fully, and then they vanish. That's the point. They teach you something crucial. Sweetness isn't meant to be stored. It's meant to be felt. Right now, fully. Before the window closes. That's what this moon is offering. A narrow window of spiritual clarity wrapped in beauty and urgency. This isn't a phase. It's a frequency shift. And if you don't catch it, it doesn't wait. This moon is tender but powerful, and it's here to deliver a clear message. There is no reward for waiting your whole life to feel ready. There is no medal for continuing to water dead roots. The people who told you that being patient, quiet, obedient would someday pay off. They were repeating what they were told. But this moon isn't interested in traditions that taste like silence. Some sweetness was never meant to be passed down, it was meant to be remembered. And here's the truth that hits hardest. You're not betraying your family by becoming yourself. You're breaking the echo. You're biting into the moment they never could. You're choosing to feel what they had to numb, to speak what they had to swallow. And yes, it might come with guilt, with disapproval, with weird looks or awkward silences. But it also comes with freedom, with oxygen, with the wild, strange sensation of finally stepping into a self that doesn't shrink for anyone. This moon isn't handing out eternal answers, it's giving you a single, ripe moment, a burst of sweetness, courage, and clarity wrapped in the illusion of simplicity. And if you're waiting for the timing to be perfect, it won't be, but the timing will be true. So take the bite. Even if your hands shake, even if the people around you don't understand, even if your voice cracks when you say, "This stops with me." Because if you do, you'll taste the difference between inherited peace and real peace, between staying safe and finally feeling free. This moon isn't asking you to destroy your roots, it's asking you to stop pretending you never had wings. Let it ripen something inside you, let it shift something you thought would never budge. Let the sweetness be a portal, because what comes after this moon will not taste like what came before. If you're still watching, I'd like to thank you for your attention. If you enjoyed the content and want to see more, please consider clicking the subscribe button. Your support is very appreciated. Feel free to share your experiences or thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, take care and subscribe for more insightful content.